What is up, beautiful, beautiful souls? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. It is feeling like spring here. I have got so many things I want to say, so many subjects I want to hit. And does anybody really care about my thought? Well, I recognize there are people that are like me that like to contribute and they like to expand their awareness. And in the last 4 years, I've had to really humble myself and constantly ask God, ask Spirit, the Divine, to humble me if I'm wrong, because there's so much happening. And what is subjective and not non-subjective? What is, we live in a culture today that is offended based, which is really sad. It's very superficial because it is limiting, very limiting, and we aren't able to have deep, real discussions and bounce off ideas. And I wonder too how much of it is a frequency, right? It's just the maturity, it's the consciousness of who can to accept it or open mind. And so I've got a lot I want to talk about. And I want to hear your guys' comments. I want to talk about, like, we could just to start off with this offended culture, right? I'll be the first to admit there is such thing as emotional abuse, right? But also, if you go through the healing, the deep, deep healing, the first thing you realize is know thyself. And one thing we need to teach our children is to know thyself, to be so concrete, because the psychology of a human is to want to conform, to be accepted, to be loved and needed. And the war today that is against us versus them, good versus evil, consciousness versus unconsciousness. And maybe I have rosy shades, because I think honestly a lot of us, I want to say the majority of people are good, but they're exploiting good hearts. And instead of recognizing, like, you can be firm in who you are, and if somebody attacks you, recognizing that it's a place of projection from where they are at, instead of taking it personally, they use that as a way to exploit good hearts to form to an agenda. And it has made us so superficial and has really helped, like, deterred us from expanding. And it's by design. It's by design. And in the last 4 years, on top of trying to be humble and ask for direction, I've had to really cue in to drop my judgment, because there's a lot of things I don't know. And I'm humbled to say, as we make this video, I don't know. Please leave your comment. I always heart it just because I love the contribution, whether I agree with it or not. We need to have these discussions. And I kind of am probably rambling, and I'm trying to stay on cue, but these are just thoughts that have been coming to me. I watched a movie last night, a documentary, The War on Our Children, and I try to look at the hashtag, because I had to actually have it come down the vineyard, if it would, to me, and I never even heard of it. And it's deterring. It makes me want to gag. It makes me want to throw up. It makes me righteously angry. And it's a part of the division. And if you guys haven't watched it, you guys should. Just me saying that might, I couldn't even find it on the hashtags. Like, I had to really look for it. But it's the exploitation. Love is love. Let's talk about love is love. No, it's not. Love is truth. Truth is light. Light is truth. Truth is light. Light is love. That means that we need to stand in our truth. You don't coddle somebody on their offendedness because you want to, it's confused as compassion. It's not compassion. If you can't, the biggest act of love is to tell somebody the truth. So let's go to love is love. It is the biggest exploitation happening right now, especially to our children. They are now trying to normalize pedophilia, and they're calling it MAP, minor attractive person. And if you don't know, this is it too, my loves. Gender and sex are not, and I'm going to ruffle feathers, and I'm okay with it, because I want to make it very clear, and this is what makes me angry too. I have nothing against my brother or sister who identify as something else. I still love you. I don't care what you do in your adult personal life. But what I am not okay with is to try to say that you can change, that sex is biological and gender is something you can choose. That is a crock of lies. And if we don't have a defined line, who's to say that a 50-year-old can't identify as a 12-year-old? And who are we going to stick up for? Those little children. For 26-year-olds, it takes until you're at the age of 26 to have your brain fully developed. I majored in psychology. What was once considered gender dysphoria is now being pushed as gender affirmation. We should affirm these children at a very young age, and it blew my mind. I've been graduated for over a year, and I am disgusted with my degree. And I made a big hoot in my class because it's like first line of defense is do no harm. We know as psychologists these brains are not fully developed, and we're talking about doing these life-altering procedures to these kids at such a young age, and then we're exploiting it. Love is love, and that we want to fly the pride flag, to be diverse. I mean, the devil hides in all the details. Equity versus equality, all of it. And if you don't have the discernment, you don't know. So I spoke about this once before, but it's like, I don't know. I never identified as the opposite sex, so maybe we should do that for our children. I don't know. God help me. Nah, it's a premature decision. I really had to wait for the answer to come in. It is a premature decision. Doesn't mean there was judgment, but it was premature. They've got us thinking I'm like a homophobia because I'm sticking up for our children. Because I don't want your adult entertainment on my street. I don't want it in my schools. That's not what it's supposed to be about. But we've normalized it. It's been so, like, I never learned civics, guys. I was of the age where it was social studies. Everything our past has been completely erased. And I know it all sounds political, but it's not. I genuinely believe we are living in the times. And when I say that, I mean, I'm talking the times. And you can say, I've thought about it. It's like, well, man has definitely read the Bible. Like, if you watch World Economic Forum and all their agendas, right? It's like, you can't say that they didn't know it. The red heifer, that's going to happen, right? But at what point do you realize, like, do we accept that it's even written in the stars, the astrology? I mean, this eclipse that's coming up is biblical. It is going to be so biblical. And I hope that we're all buckled up because it's going to get gnarly. And I think that's going to be a kickstart to it. A kicker, more starter. Like, no, we've all felt the shift. We all have felt the shift. There's so many of us that it's just never been the same. And not that we expect it to be the same, but it's like a limbo. What is to come? And let's talk about morality. Morality being subjective, which is another righteous anger within me, because these are some concepts I've even been infiltrated into my home with my child. And so I can speak from, none of us are immune. And just all these different concepts, right? And in the way they've turned the terminology. But morality is not subjective. It's the good reason for the golden rule, right? Even a sociopath does not like to be disrespected. Think about that. And I used to think compassion, like coddle me when I'm upset. Because humans want to be validated. We do. And your feelings are valid. They are very valid, but it doesn't make them true. And it's the truth that will set us free. And there's only one other thing I really want to talk about as I'm just going on agenda. These are things that come to my mind and I'd love to elaborate. But I always think I'm going to get out there and do it, and I don't. There's a reason for the golden rule, but when Jesus was asked, like, what's the best commandment to follow? It was love your God, love God, and then love your neighbor as yourself. And this goes back to a offended culture that doesn't know thyself. A culture where our identity is being so misconstrued, and right from the very get-go, that our children are going to have to do some major work. I mean, it's life altering, and people are going to be silenced. And I'm disheartened because good people are even being divided between that over terminology, over words. But I think if we really understood the intention of our hearts, we would all come together. It's language that misconstrues things. But when it says love your neighbor as you would love yourself, I think that's a large problem in our societies. We don't know how to self-love. We've been exploited that's narcissistic, considered narcissistic, and to do so. And and there is narcissism. There is narcissism in all of us, and there is narcissistic love. And I don't even call it love. It's selfishness. There's a difference between selfishness and love. And self-love is having your cup so full that you can love another, and you can stand in your truth, in the truth, and know that you're doing it out of a place of love. And when you do that, you can love your neighbor, but you can only expect to be loved as much as you can be loved. And this is for all kind of relationships. If you don't know thyself, you don't know your boundaries, you don't know what you stand for, if you are lukewarm, if you're easily pushed, and only you can set the standard to how you intend to be loved. And when you have that standard at the highest peak, then you can love others in the same regards and the same return. But we've been made to be like, to think it's pride and ego to have compassion, and not even know what compassion is confused with coddling. The devil's in all these details, the unconsciousness, the exploitation. And it all does really start within. What do you tolerate? And that will be the one we'll end off on: tolerance. Tolerance is an exploitive word, and I thought deep and heavily about this, guys. The only time, and correct me and put your thoughts in, that we need to tolerate anything is when there's not a mental capacity. People that know better or have the capacity to learn, you should not tolerate. Shitty behavior, you don't tolerate. This love is love because down the road they want to put plus behind a community and go after the vulnerable. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put one more in there. And we talk about language. These are all these thoughts, guys. I'm gonna talk about abortion. But before I say the word, I should have not said that word first, but let's just talk about it. Everybody would agree, if we just speak simple language, every soul has the right to life. Until it's about pregnancy. And then all of a sudden it's about the woman's choice. But it's not her soul that is being expelled. And don't get me wrong, there are some scenarios I really hold space for women that are in hard places: incest, rape. If her life's at jeopardy or the baby's life is at jeopardy, those are places we really need to hold space, and that's something that they need to work out with Jesus, God, the Spirit. And I'm not going to judge anybody's decision on it, but I am going to say, in simplified terms, if we were just talking simple language, yeah, we would all agree every soul has a right at life, right? Until it's in the womb. Let's think about it. It's been so indoctrinated, language has been twisted and turned, our history has been deleted, and we're under censorship hard. And there's so many thoughts, so many things I want to dig into, and I welcome feedback because I want to constantly grow. Help me play devil's advocate. Help me expand something I haven't understood. And that's what I've really done in the last 4 years, and that's how come I feel I can so sternly stand and say, I love you. Our world is going to shit. I hope you are not lukewarm. I hope and I pray, because this is the part I may be ignorant to. I believe there's more good out there than there is bad. And I think the good, the frequency, like the ones that can't hear this message, not all, but some people, like there's some people I really love that can't hear the message, that they're just oblivious to it. And I wonder how that is. Like, it says in the Bible, in the times, there will be a division, and it's happening. And God would want to save all of his children. So what part can we, like, all language construes it, the heart, the intention. When people say love is love, it's because we care about other people and we care about love, but we don't understand love. We just don't understand it. Okay, I've gone on quite the tangent for the last 15 minutes. I could go on and on and on. If I don't get to your comments, if I heart it, I'm going to heart every single one because I love the contribution. And maybe I'll go into detail more on one or the other. Maybe I should have done that first. But I did want to get all that out. Love is not love. Love is light. Light is truth. Morality is not subjective. Language is twisted so often that we're all arguing about the same thing, but misunderstood because of a vocabulary. And we are living biblical times. That's my thoughts. Those are the things I wanted to put out to my community. I love you guys so much. Hope you're enjoying the day. We could talk about a lot of things that are happening. The red heifer that's about to be sacrificed. I just heard an update probably around Easter. Pray for my brothers and sisters. But more than ever, can you guys, that would be my prayer, for you guys to be close to the Creator, for you guys to gain a very deep spiritual connection so that you can hear God, so you can hear divine, so you can hear Spirit in the times that we are approaching. It's going to get turbulent. And I pray that you know what you are standing for when you make your decisions or when you support things. BLM is a great example of it. It's total exploitation. Of course, Black Lives Matter. Every life matters. And they take the demographics and all of that and misconstrue it. And teaching other brothers and sisters that we should be shameful of our past ancestors' things. Shameful. They want to shame. What is the lowest frequency on the grid? Think about it, guys. I know some of you guys get it. I know you guys. You know what I mean? But it's like, these are all these things that have come to me in the last 4 years, and it's just like, this is crazy. So with them, so without, I had to overcome a sociopathic relationship, and it taught me so much in the nick of time. That's my experience. But anyway, again, I love you guys. I'm carrying on. Until next time. Mwah! Namaste.